Hey there, I'm Kae Lani Palmisano with another edition of Tasting Notes, a series where I sit down with chefs and cooks and all the foodies in between to discuss the flavors that define the places we love. This week, I've been exploring Ithaca, New York, a college town that's bustling and full of lively energy that's located in the Finger Lakes region. And I know what you're thinking. Finger Lakes, aren't they known for wine? And yes, the Finger Lakes wine country is a phenomenal place to learn more about wine culture and terroir. But there is another drink that is making some rounds in the region, and it's just as exciting as wine, and that is cider. There are great farmers and cider makers that are doing some really exciting things with cider, creating beverages that are refreshing and flavorful and come in a wide range of textures and styles that pair well with whatever you're eating. Today I'm sitting with Felicia Barrett, the executive chef at Monks on the Commons, located in the Marriott in downtown Ithaca, who has prepared for us today some really exciting dishes paired with ciders from throughout the region. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your connection to Ithaca.
I'm actually born and raised here in Ithaca, New York. I come from a huge family that is vastly known here in Ithaca, and I'm the second oldest out of 5 brothers and sisters. With both of my parents being full-time employees, it was kind of like my duty to help with the cooking and the cleaning, and that actually is what got me started in cooking in general. I wound up taking classes at TST Bues. It's a vocational culinary school where I wound up really enhancing some of my skills with some of my favorite teachers that I've ever had. And then after I graduated from high school, I wound up going to the Johnson & Wales University for Culinary Arts and Food Service Management.
Oh, wonderful. What is the dish that we're starting out with?
We're going to start off with a roasted beet salad with our lively rum goat cheese that is also locally made. With this roasted beet salad, it's kale and spinach mixed together with some roasted beets and candied pecans, some fresh goat cheese, and the dressing that we actually have on it is made with Glenora ice wine. And an ice wine is basically just frozen grapes that are crushed and made into a wine.
I can't wait to give it a try. And you're pairing it with a cider from Black Diamond.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you like about this cider.
So this cider is very light, refreshing, and I felt that I needed to do the same with our very first tasting.
Oh, this is a really refreshing cider. It's bubbly.
Yeah.
I'm more on the bubbly side versus I know some of the terminology they call still cider versus the bubbly cider. Have an appreciation for both, but there's something about starting a meal with an effervescent cider. And it goes really nicely with the nuttiness and the toasted pecans, the beets. It goes really nicely with some of the tangy flavors of the cheese and the beets, and I can taste a little bit of the ice wine in the dressing because it's a little sweet. There are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to cider. What are some things that you want people to know to dispel some of those misconceptions?
One misconception that I feel like a lot of people have about ciders is that they're all sweet. For instance, this very first one, this isn't very sweet at all. It's actually quite tart. And you'll see as we go on further down the tasting that they will get sweeter. But you'll be able to contrast with the first one compared to the last one and notice that this isn't as sweet.
Oh, yeah, it's a little dry, but it's not entirely dry. There is like a little, like you said, tartness to it. It's really nice, and it smells lovely too.
It does. All right, so next up we have seared scallops with our butternut squash puree, which I actually wound up incorporating some sweet tangy apples from Walcott, New York, and we're pairing that today with all-time cider from South Hill Cider.
Oh, thank you so much. I love scallops. I'm a sucker for scallops, but I think it goes so beautifully with butternut squash.
It really does.
Oh, and that goes down. This is so much smoother than I was expecting because when we poured it, it was really bubbly and very, a lot of excitement was happening in that glass for a moment. But when it goes down and it's almost, it's very smooth. Almost, it's fruity, of course, because it's got apples and everything. But with the scallops, it pairs beautifully with the seafood.
Again, with this wine also being like very, very light and refreshing, I thought that it needed to be not something necessarily raw. I was gonna wind up going that route, maybe trying to pair it with like a raw oyster of some sort.
Oh, I gotta get in another taste of that. Why is cider becoming so prolific in the Finger Lakes region?
We're the perfect climate area to grow apples. I went to Southfield Elementary School and we actually had an apple orchard in our backyard of the school property. And we would all help with cultivating and just working on the little apple orchard that we had.
So there's a lot of apples up here, and there's a lot of different types of varieties of apples too. They come in so many shapes and sizes and colors, and they taste all vastly different. Do you feel like apple cider production is a craft that is relatively new in this region?
I feel like it's something that has been around for a while, but it's not something that's actually been like very well known to other people. I feel like a lot of locals know about it or have definitely tried other ciders that have been locally made, but not necessarily. I feel like it's just really trending right now. All right, so next we have our fried pork tenderloin medallions with braised red cabbage and applesauce. We're going to be pairing that with the bluegrass russet sparkling cider from Southfield Cider as well.
It's a very colorful dish. What's underneath of it?
That is the applesauce. And the apples I used were the same Sweet Tango apples.
Applesauce is like a childhood favorite of mine.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a comforting food.
Growing up as a child, my dad would always fry pork chops and we would have applesauce on hand and we would just eat applesauce and fried pork chops.
Ooh, okay, that's like, it's getting sweeter. I can taste that progression that you were telling me about. It's a little bubbly, but it's almost like almost somewhere between still and bubbly. It's not as not as effervescent or as wild as the previous one that we tried. But with the fried pork chop, I think it's almost like, you know how people pair champagne with fried chicken, where the kind of effervescence and sweetness and how crisp it is kind of cuts through that fat and that oil and the fried. This is a really nice pairing. So tell me a little bit about what it's like to be a chef in a place where farm to table is just part of the lifestyle.
Honestly, it's amazing to be able to reach out to your local farmers and be able to just get fresh made products right here.
Just go to your local farm and you have a rapport with the farmer and a relationship. You know where the food is coming from. You can actually physically see where the food is coming from. And the seasonality of things, what's it like as a chef where when one produce goes out of season and a new produce comes into season? Is that an exciting thing for you?
It could be exciting and sometimes it could be like a little bit scary because it's just like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like, am I ready to menu change right now,
It kind of keeps you on your toes and it kind of keeps you creative. So I've brought the Black Diamond cider back into the game and you wanted me to kind of try them side by side.
Let's start with the Black Diamond cider.
Okay.
And then let's try the bluegrass russet. I just want you to see the progression and the sweetness from starting off with something that's more tart and bubbly, more like a brut champagne, going into something that's a little more sweeter.
Oh, wonderful. Oh yeah, I can taste the that's a ride. I can taste the difference there. And I'm also getting, when I taste them back to back, even though I know it's apple cider, but for some reason cider doesn't taste fully like biting into like an apple, but kind of back to back, I'm getting almost like a full roundedness of like intense apple flavors.
Lastly, we have our poached pear tartlet from Cain strain Pomelo Finger Lakes Cider House.
Now tell me a little bit about why you decided to make this little tartlet.
I really didn't want to make anything that was going to be too sweet, and you will see exactly why once you taste the cider, because it is very sweet. And personally, I just wanted something light, buttery, and somewhat sweet.
Nothing against apples, because let me tell you, I love cider and all, but pears are one of my favorite fruits.
Actually reduce the cider and used it as a sauce for the pears.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. So it's fun because you're not just pairing these dishes with the cider, you're also incorporating the cider into each of the dishes. And you know, the pomelo, this is very much a dessert cider. Yes, this is a delicious and sweet note to end this tasting on. Thank you so much for the flavor journey. This has really been a trip for my taste buds. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it.